sciences, but I teach development communication, of which sciences, are part of them. Yeah, sciences are part of it. So before I delve into this, I want to correct one impression or raise one particular issue. There appears to be a kind of gulf between journalists and particularly government agencies. I don't know how it happens in other clans, other states, but in Nigeria, it is very, very difficult for journalists to be a friend of a government. It is very difficult. Wherever you see them becoming friends, you know that government is in trouble. So the journalist comes, they call you, oh, come, my friend, come. You help out. So only few of them understand this nexus between the media and the government for sustainable development. It doesn't occur every time, and that is the reason also there's a vacuum in training, in information sharing, because on our own part, our publishers are not willing to spend a dime to train any journalist. The only letter they can sign is where the last paragraph says, we will take care of our travel expenses. Then they will say, you can go. But for most media outfits in Nigeria to send their journalists on training, it is very rare. Then secondly, somebody raised the issue of bit specialization. I studied the art first degree and master's. Then even at the PhD that I majored in gender and development, it was still domiciled in the Faculty of Art. So the very moment I got to the Guardian, in fact, I served with the Guardian, they asked me, what did you study? And I told them, even though I had PhD in journalism, they didn't ask me to go and cover communication. They quickly sent me to cover art. So in my 20 years, or 21 years in the Guardian, I had reported art, culture, and tourism. So even though I'm sleeping, at times we understand the workings, the dynamics of some governments, those of them that really don't have much to offer. So we usually tell them, don't worry, if you have any money, give us. We will do the story when we get home. Because we are being used, we are used to the beats. We know the language. We understand the dynamics of such. But you don't also see it regularly now. What we are just looking for are those journalists that are willing to work. If you are, yes. If you want to work in Nigeria's media environment, you are ready to step into a kind of environment that does not guarantee your wellness. So you'll be writing, you'll be exposed. Whenever I travel, I try to tell my colleagues, do you know that my salary is less than $150? They will say, don't say it. Some of them will have goose pimple, don't say it. I said, but that's how it is. For almost 18 years, it was still below $100 for what the currency is now, the exchange rate is now in Nigeria. So recently, it was increased. Oh, Boru chief editor, even after, we don't need to make those ones public. So that is the situation with an average journalist. How then do you expect him to embark on self-development? They die there. That bit you gave him, he is not interested in upgrading himself information-wise. If you say it, he reports it. He said that, he hammers there. He may not understand the meaning of this Biocontrol. Because even the name itself is also problematic, it's scientific, and it needs to be broken down. Sure, you understand? So it is a serious challenge. The name itself is a problem to even the journalists. So most of the journalists that report you do not even understand what this. They may not have even taken time to Google to know what Biocontrol and all those those are sciences. Those are science communication. Thank you. So as a development communication teacher, emphasis then, at the Nasarawa State University Institute of Strategic and Development Communication has always been on, imperative of enhancing the effective communication. We used to tell our students that if you communicate from now till tomorrow and your communication does not move your recipients from point A to point B, you have not done anything. Because I used to tell them that development is human-oriented, and for a human being to be developed in any way, he needs to have information. You cannot give what you do not have. So we have been thinking about how to make communication effective. Then about 2020 or so, we started partnering with regional and continental organizations to introduce this science communication. And we had the first conference, I think that was 2021, and since then it has become an annual conference, science communication. And even students are meant to deliver papers and have publications on science communication. The idea is to further develop them so that while they communicate development, they should also be able to communicate sciences. Thank you. So then, for my position then as the Deputy Director of the Institute, and also a journalist in the course of drawing curriculum for development communication, we found it necessary to go beyond the conventional approaches to see how we can break down issues of sciences and also science and technology to the understanding of the general public. Because most of them, you just push the information, but you don't care who actually consumes the information and whether the target audience actually understand what you're talking about. And that is part of the reason there is no development. It's just like giving my mother a newspaper. You can imagine where you have written everything about Biocontrol. What exactly is she going to do with it? As far as she is concerned, it is not irrelevant. The communication was rather esoteric. It's not effective. Thank you. So sorry for me. So the Institute started, okay, let me go quickly because of time to my own role as a journalist. So although this issue concerns agric basically, you can also agree with me that it has to do with health largely. In the newsroom, the case is even more serious because neither the health correspondents are scientists by training or inclination, nor did agri correspondent have any basic knowledge of the dynamism of that agri sector. For instance, my correspondents assigned to these two agencies, National Biosafety Management Agency and National Biotechnology Development Agencies, may not be strong enough to engage the public on the issue. It is not going to be possible, either through their writings or even verbal public argument. In fact, the name of the agencies are so scientifically modified that it is not easy for a non-scientist to understand what the name is all about. So, on the issue of trust, some journalists still identify with the gullible. And the reason they still identify with the gullible is because first and foremost, they are part of the society. And secondly, they do not have the right information. They will just come and cover the event. And somebody was asking why they do not attend technical sessions. You see, on most of our invitations, say, you are invited to report to the opening ceremony. And the journalist who has another bit to report according to, This is also struggling with the transport, too, hope you know. And most of them are freelancers. They don't even pay them. And those they pay receive, whosoever among the journalists receive $200 in Nigeria today, it must be a super editor. I'm telling you the truth. So they are trying to cope with all these exigencies. And you sitting them down when they don't even know what is there for them, to listen to all the grammars that have to take place at the technical session. And that is where the meat is. That is where the information is embedded. It is going to be extremely difficult for them to sit down. So they remain uninformed. You see them as journalists, you think they know. They really don't know anything. And lastly, they keep writing. Once you write that episode and you send it, the next day, it is even very, very difficult for a journalist. All you want to see when it comes, search, we in the prints, you check the paper. This is your name and your byline there. That is why we editors, we discover that the mistake of today You see it tomorrow. You see it from January to December. You see it next year. The essence is that the reporter does not even read the copy that has been refined to see the corrections that you make there. This shows that he does not even read his or her own copy. Not to talk about reading your own Biocontrol. He doesn't. He doesn't know anything. That is it. So, to bridge the gap between science communicators and the general public, efficient communication of this biotechnological development becomes very crucial to the media so that they can present factual and understandable information about the sector and the programs and all their activities. So, for the journalists also to communicate effectively and efficiently on the issue of this LMO, GMO, or even agric products, or even, it is funny to also understand that when we see all these hybrid products, most people think they are the genetically modified. So they try to run, this one carry, they will tell you it carries so much of this, there's something they call it. No, it is not even a fertilizer. They call it one denigrating name like that, that is health hazardous. So they try to chemical. Yes, they say, this one a chemical. They say. So people don't even know the difference between hybrid and genetic. Because I was telling my friend now that people fear these tomatoes, big tomatoes, big mangoes. You say that you only have cowpea and this and that. So what happens to all these big tomatoes and pepper? He said, those are not genetically modified. I said, who will tell the public? They don't know. As far as they are concerned, when they see them in the market, they avoid them because of the chemical. Not knowing that they don't even have the chemical. Yeah. So just as my colleague observed, the guy that spoke about journalists who do not engage in self-development. So the issue, just as I explained earlier, it is a problem, and until the people who have the wherewithal to help the media professionals, those in the field soldiers, should not be seen as enemies. They are really not enemies. They are the ones that bear the brunt. They are your friends. And I want to plead that the relationship become mutual. At times you see them, even now we are skeptical about telling somebody we want to interview you. The idea of interviewing is to enable you speak all that you have to the public without me trying to put my own words. But we have realized over time that once you say, please help me tell your DG I want to interview her, they begin to calculate how much you want to extort from the DG before you leave. And they do not allow us the privilege to even interview high-profile people. Even at my own stage, I discovered that it's becoming difficult to even ask for an interview from any high-profile person, because they will think, these people, they are coming again to collect money. That was the reason I spent 4 months in China, in Beijing. I did not know where the embassy was, because the very moment a journalist is coming to the embassy, they won't beg money from the ambassador. So we should try and build a kind of a trust and a relationship, because no matter what we do, if it is not communicated to the public, nobody is going to know. You do not have the power to communicate. We cannot go back to the days of town crier. So we have the mass media, and we are readily available. So let us be friends rather than enemies. And I am sure that in so doing, information will go as fast as we want, and also we get the desired result at the end of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.